All right, we'll convene this meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next up is approval of the agenda.
The motion to approve the agenda.
Second. Then moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Caitlin?
Yes.
Yoshimi? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. First item under informational is certificated appreciation week.
So it was a great day today. You'll see some pictures coming out. We have some people in the audience that can probably attest to that. We visited the high school, and KRV in the morning had donuts, coffee, and they got their little gift and so forth. And this afternoon we visited Heights, Whitstrand, Middle School Heights and Whitstrand, and they got chocolate chip cookies this afternoon. But I do like to always read this. I think it's good for the record. We did send out the social media. So it says, "Dear certificated staff members, certificated appreciation week is here. I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for your unwavering dedication and commitment to our students and our district. From teachers to counselors, librarians, and all certificated staff, each of you plays a crucial role in shaping the lives of our students and fostering an environment of learning and growth. Your passion, expertise, and tireless efforts do not go unnoticed. This week, as we celebrate Certificated Appreciation Week from May 6th through May 10th, it is my sincere hope that you feel valued, appreciated, and recognized for the incredible work that you do each and every day. Your dedication to excellence is what makes our district truly exceptional. I want to personally thank you for your hard work, resilience, and commitment to ensuring the success and well-being of our students. Your impact extends far beyond the classroom, and I'm continually inspired by your dedication to our shared mission of providing the best possible education for every student. Please know that your contributions are deeply appreciated, and I'm incredibly proud to work alongside such talented and dedicated professionals. Thanks for all you do." So for those of you who are here, some of you I saw today, or those who are listening, thank you for all you do.
Yes, thank you. Moving on to number 2 is new employee background check.
I just thought in light of what went on in the Richland School District, and there was, if you've been involved in the reading any of the social media, any of the items, I thought it would be good to share with our community the stringent work that we do when we are doing background checks. So they initially happen when a person applies. There's 14 questions that are answered from anything from, have you ever been convicted of? And that goes from everything from a DUI to something maybe when you were 20, even if you're, 50. And then there's, have you ever been released from another position? All those kinds of things. And then we vet those. We vet them in the way that, does it impact their teaching certificate, the link, any so forth, so on and so forth. So let's just say you've been released from a position and you answer yes, then we call that before the principals or whoever's doing the hiring can even see those applications. So that's one. Then the interviews happen. So then we review resumes, and if there's multiple people for a job, we then do resume reference checks. We generally will do, depending on how many, and if we know the individuals, we will do one before we ever interview. And then we interview, and we have certain forms we use, and we do reference checks. They're verbal. Now we do, in the application process, it automatically sends out electronic ones. So let's just say I was applying for a job, it would go to you or to any of you, and then you would answer back. But we then, after the interview process, before we're recommending it to hire to the board, we do verbal checks where we actually talk to an individual on the telephone. Sometimes we even call people that aren't on the reference checklist.
I always do, especially if, it seems like normally you're most recent employer, boss, supervisor should be on there, and if they're not, you
That's kind of a red
always
flag.
call. Yeah.
And we make sure we're talking to a person. We have canned questions we ask. So we're really diligent in that. Then they go to a recommendation to hire to the school board, which is what you see brought to you in your consent agenda. And then we begin the license certification. We do that first step to make sure they've got the right certification. But then there's background check, fingerprinting. There's multiple things that go on before they're allowed to actually receive a contract and so forth. So I just thought it was really good for the public to know. I know we have some principals in the room. Is there a director? Is there anything else to the community that I have missed that you think that our public should know?
So we full background checks, but many years ago, there was a person who was hired in the district who had arrest records, but not conviction records. And in the State Patrol background check at that time did not show that. And so we went to a company called Pinnacle. So we do run Pinnacle background checks as well.
Thank you for that. That's a good step.
Because like Kim said, there's all those questions, but people can lie. And sometimes they do, as we've seen, you know, in some recent events. So I think 99% of people are honest and true. And so, you know, we do our best to ask the people that they didn't tell us to talk to. It's just
Deanna brought that up, and I want everybody to understand by doing that, we have arrest, not necessarily conviction.
Yeah.
Because as we know in our court systems, things take a long time and different things like that. So we just thought it would be important for the public record for people to know what we go through and that we do everything we can to make sure we've done every check and balance that we can do before we hire someone.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you for that.
All right, moving on to the 24-25 student calendar.
So it's in front of you. So I'm going to make it really short and sweet. We have in our PEA contract that spring break starts the first Monday of April. Well, this is one of those odd years where the first Monday of that week is March 31st. And our surrounding districts, not only in athletics, but people who live in Richland and their children and back and forth, the surrounding districts, we're all starting March 31st. And our original calendar that we submitted to you had us starting on Monday, April 7th. We went to the union. They said, yes, so that makes perfect sense. Thanks for thinking out. And we did a small MOU that we could have changed it for this week. And so this is just for your FYI and the public's FYI for public records.
Any questions? Great, thank you for that. Moving, do we have anybody signed up, Selena? Ashley, anybody online? Okay, we'll skip that part. Moving on to student rep reports. Caitlin?
The only thing I have to report is that spring sports districts are starting either tomorrow or sometime very soon. Okay, for ASB, I've uploaded campaign videos and made campaign posters for the upcoming elections for the 2024 through 2025 school year. Mr. Griegel and I are working together on the club fair coming up at the end of the month in partner with Mr. Denny for the 8th grade. And budgeting for classes has begun. And senior drum major auditions were today. We had 3 juniors audition. And then kind of off script, someone in my math class came up to me and asked me to speak about this at the board meeting today. They asked for me to tell the board about the side effects of sleep deprivation, which include trouble focusing on school, driving, social interactions. It can increase the chances of depression, anxiety, and difficulties processing strong emotions. It's also been proven to negatively affect academics and extracurriculars, such as, but not limited to, athletics. They urged me to encourage the board to look at modern and credible sleep deprivation studies and consider having a later start for next year's schedule. So, yeah. My report.
Thank you. Great, thank you. Any questions for Yoshimi or Caitlin? Thank you. Moving on to discussion items. First up is Staff Sergeant Best Remembrance Day, PHS Hallway of Heroes. You could.
Ashley, would you want to move one of the microphones over there for them?
We had a. That what you need?
Yeah, I just ignore that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You have as much time as you need. We just wanted the speaker so people online could hear you.
You better set a timer with Scotty.
We've been working on this project for actually since our 10th class reunion and trying to put it together. Actually our 20th class reunion, and over the last year or so, we've gotten together enough support to pull it off. What you have in front of you is an invitation to hallway dedication and a memorial that we'll be doing here at the high school. And we've been working with Mr. Bailey to put in a memorial plaque for Staff Sergeant Best. He graduated from here in 1989. He was our classmate. He was Shelly's husband, and we want to recognize him. It's been 20 years this June since he passed away, and we don't want to forget him. So, and we don't want our community to forget him. We don't want you to forget him. We don't want our schools and our students to forget him. So we have the plaque. It's on its way today. They call this, and the plaque is done at the Bronzer. The statue is finished, and it'll be being shipped out as well. Brian has worked with us to do some work in the hallway, and I don't know if you know which hallway it is. As you go through the commons on the left-hand side, if you're going down the hallway, on the first hallway on the left-hand side, there's a short hallway that goes out to a door overlooking the parking lot of the stadium. Yeah. There's natural light that comes in that door, and it's a perfect spot to put up the wall plaque and the statue. What we'd like to do is decorate that whole hallway and recognize all of our veterans from World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam, Desert Storm, and the Iraq Wars, and Afghanistan. Marvin's will be the first one that we install in there, and then we'll have room in the rest of the hallway to put others as they come. Brian's been working to bring back Mr. Hensley's plaque that's been in the Bowden gym at the high school, and that'll be installed in the hallway as well to recognize him. There's also room on the left-hand side of the hallway to make plaques or arrangements for other veterans to be recognized, other fallen heroes, others that have served, other veterans. And what we're hoping to do is take the money that we have left over from this project, donate it to the ASB fund, and then the ASB fund can take over that project of buying the plaques and making the memorials to put up on the wall. We've done just about all we can do with this project. We've seen it through. There's one piece left to get the lighting done in the hallway so that there'll be a spotlight where the memorial will be. There's some decals that'll go on the entrance to the hallway. So as you come down through the commons and see the hallway from the on the left-hand side, you'll see that it'll say Marvin Best Hallway of Heroes as you get up close to the hallway there. And on the left-hand side will be the insignia of each of the branches of service, including Space Force, Brian told me.
And even Coast Guard.
Even Coast Guard.
Even the Coast Guard.
So I think we're pretty close. The invitation is for June 20th. We'll be downstairs in the Commons at 6 o'clock. We would love to have all of you attend with us. The Benton County Sheriff's Office, the Prosser Police Department, we've invited the City Council and the Mayor. We would love to have all of the school board members there that we can. I don't know if you'll have to do a special meeting if more than 3 of you come, but we would love for you all to be able to be there for Marvin. His family will be there. I was on the phone with his mom and dad yesterday, and they're very excited to see this project coming together. They're not in the greatest health, and we want to get this project done so they can see it. The guest speaker will be former Secretary of Defense and 4-star General Mattis will be there speaking. What else, Scott?
Marvin served under General Mattis when he was with the in the Marine Division. So it's a huge honor to have General Mattis here, and he's very happy to do it. He's moving the schedule around a lot for us, and so yeah, we're pretty excited about that. The bronze statue that'll be there will be the Soldier's Cross that you often see when unfortunately I've had to go to those as when I'm deployed, when we've had soldiers in our unit killed, and so we've gotten the bronze for that put together. It's fairly hardy, but it's in a high school. We understand that. So the other things we'd like to do is potentially from year to year is have other fundraisers from our class. So to provide funding for the school and to put in the ASB if there's maintenance that needs to be done or any additional stuff that needs to be done. You know, kids are hard on things, but we've in talking with most of the outfits that have done this, the kids are really usually very careful with those kinds of things, and so we're really excited for it. It's long overdue. So anyway, with that being said, Marvin was near and dear to all of our hearts. He was a huge part of this school when he was here in FFA and running. He was a big runner and band, yeah, as well. Yeah. So anyway, him and I did not share that part, but yeah, I can't.
Or the running.
or the running. I often ask him what he saw in this whole running more than 100 yards thing. Anyway, but he was very good at it. So anyway, we're just really excited and really proud to be able to, as a class of '89 and a lot of donors in this community, have come together in actually we just started reaching out about 2 months ago, and so we were able to raise about $15,000 in a couple of months just between our class and the local donors, and then with the money that the school district set aside. So we're really excited about it, and we don't want to be a burden on the school district. Scotty and I both sat on this board. You're a much better looking board than the board that we sat on, but anyway, we sat on the board, so we know how hard it is money wise, and to keep adding things to the school. What a beautiful school we have. So we're willing to try to keep raising funds to keep up with the operation and maintenance of it.
And there isn't a huge draw. There's hardly any draw on the district for this project. With 15,000 that we've raised, it pays for the statue, the plaques, and then some. We just had a donor yesterday donate that will pay for the lighting that will be in the hallway. So it won't come out of Brian's fund. We'll be able to take care of almost everything except a little bit of the hardware stuff will be coming out of the building's budget, but all of the art will come out of ours. Won't cost you guys anything.
Okay. And then the hope is to hand it over to the ASB of the school so that we're not continuing to.
And then they can make
be in charge
of how to decorate it, how to make those plaques available to others that want to come in and put their family members up there.
If I say ASB, I'm not sure what for sure.
Wherever it goes, it won't be our money anymore. Is there anything else, Shelley?
I had no intention of speaking.
All right. Can you help us a little bit?
I'm super excited about this. This building's been open for 4 years, and it's surprising to think about that this was brought up at the grand opening of the building, and it has taken this long for this to come to fruition. And quite frankly, because of this group, so I'm very proud of this group for getting this going. But we also at our school, Angela Skeen and leadership do a great job, and the history department do a great job every single year with our veterans and Veterans Day and Remembrance. And,
yes, they do.
And we just want to carry that forward and continue that tradition on. And this is a very good next step. We're excited about what this is going to look like, and I'm thankful for this group to take the lead on it and help push it forward.
What you have in your board packet tonight is a proclamation that we ask the board to approve so that we can make the June 20th Staff Sergeant Marvin L. Best Remembrance Day. That will use that during the time that we have the ceremony, so that we can recognize that day on behalf of the school board, recognizing it as Marvin's Day. I don't know how procedurally what that takes for you guys to do it, if it's a motion or if it's just saying, okay. But that's what we're asking the board to help us with today.
Just a logistical question. There's a performance 6 o'clock, June 20th here in the high school for the dance studio.
That is happening, and that's happening in the auditorium. What we're hoping to do is use a portion of the commons to have this event. The date we're kind of locked into. So it's the date of Marvin's death. It's the date that those that are participating can be there. And we don't need the whole school. We don't need the auditorium. We need a portion of the commons. And after talking with Brian, that seems that works just fine. We don't need all of it. We don't need to be in the way of the production that's going to go on. But this school is pretty big. We can make us all fit. Sure.
I honestly was thinking about people that wanted to go to both.
Yeah.
Stand in the middle.
If you need some extra dancers, Scotty and I are available.
Is the speaker going to be, if they're going to use, they last year used that common area.
Yeah, we will make it work. We'll do everything we can to make it work. This centered around that specific day and the day that General Max could make it. So we will do the very best.
I didn't know if maybe like
the
clock would work better.
No, it'll be great and we'll make it happen.
What time does the recital start? Oh, at 6.
Day and time. Yeah, no, I think this is really cool. I just don't want anyone to miss it.
Yeah.
Well, I think procedurally we'll have to put it in as an action item because it's in a discussion item today. So we will post this for action.
May 22nd?
Yes, May 22nd.
I wouldn't think you would need to come again. We'll just have to move it down to an action item and then do the proclamation.
Yeah.
Selena, can you make note of that?
But I think what you guys did is pretty awesome that you were able to bring all this together, the funds and do. I think it's going to be great. And Brian said it very well. So thank you for all the efforts that you guys put in to make this happen. So
thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Anybody?
This is pretty cool. And we've talked a little bit about it, but to see this thing playing out, it's be awesome.
Yeah. And please, I know it's after school's out and everything, but please make sure that the students are invited and that stuff. So we're pretty excited.
I'll make an ASB. I run the ASB.
That's great. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. And we've I think Scotty was going through the list, but fire department, first responders, there'll be a lot of folks here. I know Chief Marcus at the PD wants his whole staff here. So it's important for all of us to make sure that we all share it. So we'll obviously we've invited a lot of people too. So I don't know about the social media accounts for the school, but we would love it if they put that on there. That'd be great. So
is anyone in Rotary on here? Could anyone help us announce it at Rotary?
Would you like to come to Rotary and announce it and do a presentation on it?
I won't be here. I have to leave tomorrow for a little while.
I could work to get you scheduled any Thursday between now and June 20th. I'm not the scheduler, but I can.
I'd be glad to go, and Scotty's
or Brian could do
it. We'll get you on the schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. Just let us know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can email Karen right now.
Yeah, that'd be great. We can.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, moving on.
We'd love to stick around, but
well, no, you have to. Moving on is the two discussion items, school building reports, and we'll start with Strand. Mr. Gilman.
We're gonna set your timer because Ashley stepped out. So we're gonna give you oh, here she comes.
All right, let's start off with some positives. So we met with ARC I think it was second to last week of April, and reviewed some data. So this is not specific to my building, but to the district overall. Last year at this time, it was our students on the ERLA were at 30%, they're at 49% this year. And that, like I said, it was the second.
That's reading on grade level.
Yes, reading on grade level. It was towards the end of April. It was like I said, it was the week after we got back from break. So mid-April, this data is coming from. And then on the ANEAL, which is the Spanish proficiency, last year was at 26%. It's at 47% now. So things are improving and improving quite a bit. And kindergarten, we had several kindergarten classrooms at 100%. Wistrand's kindergarten was at 100%, and I believe KRV was around 80%. So as that moves forward and keeps going, as these kids grow, bigger changes will happen. We finished up Starbase, which I think was a very positive thing for our fifth graders, which is a STEM based program in Oregon that they were participating in. They did come one day to Whitstrand the last week to do some of that science in our building. Our first graders are continuing to do the Winnie the Pooh and practicing for that performance. And something we're working on. So we just finished our book study around math workshop. And the next steps with that would be our grade level partners observing each other. Something you didn't know about Whitstrand. We just had a new family move in of 20 to 30 members. Their house is the container. They live under the container. And hopefully you didn't park next to me, because one of those family members might end up being in your car like in mine yesterday, which we've had 4 staff members so far have those little critters in there. A trapper was out Saturday. And Jason sent some very good advice to me last night, which I was not able to get that critter out of my car. I poked and prodded, and my wife did not want me to use other means. So black pepper, I sprinkled the black pepper in my engine before I went to bed, and that particular family member was no longer in my car in the morning. So
amazing what you find on the internet.
That's the news right now at Whitstrand. That's the big news right now.
Thanks, Kevin. Oh,
I'm over there.
Do they still do
Kevin?
the dandelion dash at Whitstrand?
No.
Okay.
Turkey.
Yes, I did find out though that we are doing a fun run with the PTO. I think every elementary school is doing that. Dandelions, I did not know that originally the mascot there was a dandelion. And then it went to lions and there's Sally. But the story behind that is that Dan was the principal there at one time. So he called them the dandelions.
I just thought that's what the field was made of.
It's spring.
Thank you for that.
Was cute.
Next up is Transportation Department. I mean, how are you?
I'm doing good. We're surviving. So let's see, something good. We are almost through spring sports districts. We have one more very super busy week, where I'm in about another full week, morning and afternoon. Everything's going good. We're getting through it. Let's see. We're working on planning summer school routes with migrant program. We'll be doing 2 routes for the ESD again this year, as well as our local one. Some good things. Our bus garage is super excited. Our mechanic's having a baby next month. So everybody's super excited for that. And they have a countdown. Yeah. He's excited. And believe it or not, I have 2 drivers that are so obsessed with the new electric bus coming in that they are like specking them out. They're looking, they're asking questions. They really want to know all about it. And there's actually been questions I couldn't answer that I had to go back and find out for them. So that's super exciting that they're interested in it. In the future coming up, we have our July State Patrol inspections where they come and inspect every vehicle that carries a student. So I have to collect all of them from around the district, as well as all the buses. I also have my biannual FMCSA interview coming up, and that
What those letters stand for?
federal motor carriers. It has to do with our
Sorry.
federal driver's
Yep.
license.
Didn't know those letters.
Class D. And it's it has to do with the drug testing, the federal database. So they come in and go, what do you do? School bus. And then it drops 90% of the questions. And then I have to show proof that every year I run a query on the drivers to make sure they're not entered into a drug rehab program or have any tickets or anything with that. Something that I'm super excited about, ESD 123, 105, and 171 have picked me and Prosser to have our regional transportation day here. So it'll be October 26th, and all of the bus garages from all of those regions will be here, and we'll be talking about safety and security on the buses, how to reduce the risk as a bus driver with student fights, student management, all kinds of stuff. And then we're thinking of also having like a little round table. So it's like ask a different director, see if we're all on the same page in different ways we handle stuff. And that planning starts in 2 weeks with the other 3 ESCs all together.
What's exciting? Could you send out a reminder when that gets closer on the 26th?
Yeah.
It's a long ways away. It seems
It
like
is,
a long ways away.
but it'll be here tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to action items. Consultant service agreement with Lene Spielman, No Limits Volleyball Club.
Okay, so I haven't done this before, so if I don't hit everything, ask me questions. So I'm the head volleyball coach, and we are looking, the last couple years, we've gone to camps in other schools. So we participated in the camp in Sunnyside where they invited surrounding high schools, and they brought in a coach to run a camp there. And then last year we brought in a coach in Grandview, and we participated in that camp, and our girls went to that camp. So this year we're looking to hire Linnea Schliemann. She's a coach of the No Limits Volleyball Club. She has been a long time involved with volleyball, played for West Valley from the area, a decorated player herself. And she, when I was looking for something that's more cost effective, it's hard for some of our kids to go, go to Eastern or WSU and participate in a camp that's $400 a person. Bringing in someone to run something that's maybe a little more specialized to your team is like $140 a person. So a little bit better there. We invited other surrounding schools. The only one that was able to participate in this time is Grandview. So what we're looking to do is July 16th through the 18th, contract Linnea to come in and run a camp for those 2 varsity teams, and design something that would be competitive but cost effective. We're hoping to use the main and auxiliary gym at PHS, and there should be 24 participants, 12 from each school. And the supervision, I realized when I'm looking at this that I forgot to put on that the Grandview's coaching staff would also be there supervising as well. But myself and my assistant coach, and we're hoping to hire a C-squad coach here in the near future. So all of those people present. We decided on 3 days, 2 full days. So it would be like from 8 to 3-ish in there with like an hour lunch. So similar to what they would get if we went to a bigger school and did something like that. So that's kind of cool because we've only had half days at our other camps we've done. And then our last day would be a half day and something kind of competitive in there. So that's what we're hoping to do. And we've done kind of all the paperwork to get that taken care of, make sure we got a consultant's agreement in place, made sure that we got a confirmation with Grandview through a written agreement to make sure that they are going to pay their portion, because they would be paying for half the camp, and then Prosser would be cutting the main check that we would be giving her. So setting a deadline, making sure we have all that in place as well. and making sure that our gym requests are put in so that we are all good, and checking with the other sports programs so that everybody kind of knows, and we all share the gyms and spaces. So you guys have any questions for me?
I have one. I think it's for the price to get 2.5 days of camp, but that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's nice.
So I think it's a great thing for both schools, or in Grandview. Where's the balance of the funds going to come from?
So I believe that would come out of our volleyball fund, because our portion is coming from our volleyball fund. So the girls would pay into our ASB, and then we would pay out of there. Logistically, I would have to ask Mr. Hawk exactly where, because like I said, this is new to me. We've never hosted. We've just paid in, and then we brought our check to the place. But I think that they would be paying Prosser Volleyball, and then Prosser Volleyball would cut that nice big old check at the end so that when she's finished her job, we can pay her.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
I do. It's not related to the contract though, because I read hosting summer camp volleyball. I'm like, oh, that's great, because there's really no opportunity for young kids in the community to try volleyball. There's AAU, basketball camp.
There's not much for volleyball.
Maybe that's something they would consider as a fundraiser, like the basketball teams do in the future.
Yeah. It's actually something that we've talked about this year. We are looking at trying to host a kids camp. It's a little bit tough because we only have so many facilities and so much time. So our goal is in the future, if not this year, to host a kids summer camp. The hope would be this year to be able to do that, and then make it so that the kiddos come and then they get like t-shirts, and then maybe in the season we do like a little Mustang day so they can sit behind our bench and be kind of part of it. Because you're so right, that is the super challenge in volleyball. We get kiddos that have no experience until they play middle school volleyball, and then that's only a couple years, and by the time they get to the high school, it's a whole new ball game. It's not like AAU where you have years of opportunities. So yeah, that is something that we want to do, that we're hoping. I've kind of started the process of looking at ASB funds and things like that, and what we can do with our budget, and making sure that we can do something like that. But I'm not positive it will happen this summer. So fingers crossed, we'll see.
Any other questions?
I don't know if I missed this or not, but how much is
the cost for each player, I believe, is $145 is what it ended out to, which is pretty good, because our ones in the past have been about $100, $110, and those were just 3 days of 3 hours each. So it's a pretty good, it's a little more expensive than what we've done, but it's a pretty good cost for what we're getting. And then there's also a $150 travel fee for the coach, which is being split between us and Grandview. So that won't come out of the players' pockets.
Any other questions?
No.
I move to approve the consultant service agreement with Linnea. How do you say it again? Shield?
I'm guessing Schliemann. I don't know.
Okay. No Limits Volleyball Club.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Caitlin? Yoshimi? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Oh, we've got a wild 3-year-old.
Moving on to the second reading for the removal of policy and procedure 7321.
I don't really have anything to add.
To approve the second reading for the removal of policy 73.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the second reading for the removal of policy and procedure 7321. Caitlin? Yoshimi? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Post same sign. Motion carries. Next up is the award of door access control project.
So Sean's not with us tonight. You have the documents in front of you. I'd like to share, I had some community outreach about this, and I'd like to share about that so that if the person's listening and or anybody else might have had the same questions, I can answer this. So when you approach this building, you come to the door and you have a camera and a door entrance and then a vestibule. We also have many doors that go to the outside. And if you've ever been a high school principal, we have lots of young people who like to go outdoors to avoid going to class. And so we are going to not electrify, like shock you. We're going to electrify those doors with badge access. And what it does is something like this. If you think about the times you park in the lower parking lot, you have to walk all the way around because the door is closed. The students will have a badge that will allow up to 5 minutes before I think we decided on 5 minutes. We don't set the final thing. About 5 minutes before class starts, they use their badge and they can come in down and come into the building. A PE teacher, you might say, well, the doors, then if you push their egress, so we're not going to lock anybody in, but if you go out the door without using a badge, it will set off the warning alarm for that door only. Not a fire alarm, not anything like, but it gives a warning bell so administrative can catch on the camera, or security can go and check and see what's going on. It'll also allows for building safety. So right now you could go put a pebble in that door and the striker won't latch. And so while that is probably pretty good natured by young students or high school students, the exposure that gives our building to people that aren't supposed to be in the building is not good. So if the striker does not engage within 30 seconds, 45, we haven't tested exactly, then the alarm would also sound. So it would allow that to keep from happening. So many teachers and people ask, what about when we're going to go out to PE, we're going to go to the greenhouse? So I would say it's maybe a negative to this, but all the students that are going to PE, to the field, let's say, would wait at the door, the teacher would swipe their badge, everybody goes out, and then they're out, right? And then they'd wait at the door to come back in, the teacher would swipe their badge, and everybody would come in together. So I suppose if you have 35 kids going to PE, everybody standing there waiting might be a negative, but at least we know everybody's out and then everybody's allowed back in. So it's a safety feature. I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to add about that. The money. So when the bond was passed for the building, and I'm learning a lot about this, right? Because I'm new. So the bond was done, and then we did the elementary, and then the next elementary, and next elementary. There is contingency money that is, and Delise can help me with this, but there's contingency money from that original bond to cover this expense. So this is not the new capital levy money. Everybody hear that? This is not the new capital levy money. This is money that was here. And a lot of times when you move into a building, you think you've thought of everything. And this is something that I don't want to say it's an afterthought, not like it wasn't thought about, but you don't realize how much coming around to the top of the door for the students, the staff, right? Is there anything else on that you want to?
Yeah, when we built this building in the plans, we had to eliminate a number of things. The stairway, it was originally planned to have stairs on the outside of the building so the students could walk up very easily. That got eliminated in our attempts to save money. And now we have a large number of kids that just walk through the gravel up the grass. There's a pathway that's worn. This would eliminate that. This would give us an opportunity to be able to open doors with badge access to teams.
Oh, athletes. Yes, that's a good one. And thank you for bringing that up. So driver's ed needs to be here at 6:30 in the morning. If you have 5 kids in driver's ed, their badge would access to allow them in, but somebody else's wouldn't. Or we talked about the weight room in the summertime. So players that have their badge could have access, others do not. And it does tell you when they badge in. It does not badge out unless we have that turned on. So they wouldn't have to badge out necessarily.
We'll have to manage those times. Kids wouldn't have free access to the building. It would be specific times when you specifically have a coach there as well. So
yeah. A perfect example is this morning we came in for teacher appreciation. And at the morning custodian, I'm assuming, starts opening the doors. And kids, there's adults here, don't get me wrong, but a badge would allow that student, no, you're not coming in until person X is here. We call those swipe badges. So in the office, you would have hanging there Your main secretary or whoever's first on would go and swipe it at any swipes location and it opens the door for student access. So that then you know you have supervision in the building for those students that are there. And then their badges will work. Also, you don't have a free access open door. So there's some really positive things.
So the existing system, I guess my question is like, since it's set up with that card key anyway, like what's the $40,000?
So there is not electricity. Now it's low voltage, so don't think like it's not like a plug-in, but there is not low voltage at those doors.
Okay.
So this money is for the low voltage, the network. If you're familiar with power, right? We can often junction in at a T-box, make a junction boxes for power. Cannot do that with network. So we have to run from that wiring and pull it back to the closest network box. So that's the main, and then the actual little badge card readers that will be on the inside and outside of each door. And so we're doing the end of this hallway going to the greenhouse.
Like the big entrances.
Yeah, the two downstairs. I don't know that we did one because that's not a student.
One by Karen Benendo.
I don't think that one has one.
Yeah. So we did them Brian and Sean walked them. So it's mainly, we call them squealers. So if the door gets opened and it wasn't badged, then attention is drawn to the door. And it sounds bad to any student who's listening, the two of you. It's what I call keeping honest people honest, but it also allows if somebody opens a door who's not supposed to be there, we're going to pay attention to who's coming in the door.
Or going out.
Or going out.
Staying in school.
Yeah, that should be staying in school, but I'm actually even doing like, I want you to think about this. If you walk up to the lower door and there's a student there and you knock on the door and they're supposed to know you and they push the door open, you really don't have access to that. And a lot of times a student don't know how to look at an adult and say, I'm not opening the door, right? And so then that camera goes right to that door and then we know, right? And we can either go up to Brian Wyman and say, please use the main door. We'll have all those signs. Remember we talked about those signs will be on the door. You have to use the main entrance. So it's safety on both sides. It keeps from leaving when you're not supposed to, but it also keeps from opening the door to someone who shouldn't be coming in.
The door squeal for it's open
until it's turned off.
So basically go to the door and turn it
There's
off.
A key. There's a key. I'm going to be very honest and tell you I don't know. In the past buildings that I've worked at, it was a key that turned it off. But even that technology in 3 to 5 years can change, and it might be like a computer turn off.
And is there a certain amount of time you have once the door is opened for it to close?
You can set those accordingly. So let's just say we have PE teacher X and they have a class that big. We might make their badge allow a 1.5 minute opening, where my badge might have a 30-second. So it's all controlled by the computer in a group.
And then, my question, so if, for instance, I only have a second and fifth, would it, since I can't, since we can only come into the building, during those first 5 minutes before, would that be, passing time, or would it be before passing?
You know, I don't know the answer to that. I think it kind of works like driver's ed, but I don't know how finite we can be as to you can enter for this 10 minutes and then you have to exit with, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know how finite we can be, but your badge would always work at the front door. The lower doors where we don't have adults' eyes on would be the times that are limited. But your badge will always work at the front door. On school days, during school hours.
Any other questions?
As far as the cost, the money you said is already there. I mean, it's.
Yes, Delise can explain it, but it's from the original bond money that's left from the contingency. So we're not coming out of capital levy. and we're, of the new capital levy we ran. And
It's still coming out of capital. It's just
Capital-
in the funds of the contingencies. We have a small contingency for each project for things like this.
Do you know what the balance is after that in that contingency fund?
I won't,
Any other questions?
I'm gonna, Elisa, it's not a lot. We're getting down there.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Well, I guess if there.
Well, yes, for each building, there always is, but this one, I think we're getting down there. We did, we are working on Wi-Fi for the stadium and Wi-Fi for the greenhouse. Those are two things that are kind of small that it's not overly expensive, but those are things that we've learned that when you're out there and you bought plants at this sale, right? They had a credit card reader machine, but we had to get unique to get the Wi-Fi out there to be able to run those machines. So things like that grow through time. And then that's part of our facilities management. Once that money is gone, right, then we'll have to plan and budget accordingly to have, as things grow, change, or break, right? We'll have to be able to prepare for those things.
And can we only use the contingency fund for the high school on the high school?
That's
or is
my
it between all the
understanding.
yeah, so each project has their own set of contingency funds. So like the playground equipment at KRB was purchased with
KRB. That's a good example.
I would make a motion to award the door access control project.
I'll second. I don't know who got it for, okay. So it's been moved and saying to award, who are we awarding? I forgot.
I don't even remember. Yeah, but
Absco?
Yeah.
Absco. The Absco, the control project. Galen and Yoshimi. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Post same sign. Motion carries. Next up is vouchers and payroll. I had one question. It's 909266, code HS. Is that how you, I don't know how you pronounce it, code HS. It looks like it's a computer science subscription. Is that for like a classroom subscription?
Oh yes, yeah, so CTE.
Oh, okay.
Yep, program for the next question.
Yeah, thank you. That's actually all I had. Any questions?
I make a motion to approve vouchers and payroll.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Caitlin? Yoshimi? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Post same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to consent items 1 through 4.
I would make a motion to approve the consent items 1 through 4.
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent items 1 through 4. Caitlin? Yoshimi? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Post same sign. Motion carries. Well, that concludes our action items for tonight. Moving on to reports. Delise.
Financials. I mean, they don't look the greatest this month. There's no really getting around that. However, our fund balance decrease this year is actually 140,000 less this month than it was last year. And April will look a lot better. We'll get our portion will even out with the increase in enrollment that we had for this year. We'll get a big chunk of property taxes, and then we'll also get our LEA stabilization funds. So next month should look a lot better than March.
I think I want you to, especially Jason and Lisa, I want you to notice the accuracy of the information that we're getting and the information that we're trying to provide you. To the new board members, right? We're working really hard on being comparison as well as forward thinking. Trying to be really upfront when we do our study session, when we do the different things. I think you'll see a trend in, I hope, better bottom line, right? But ultimately also a trend in way better communication. So that's our goal together.
Any questions for Delise? No, looks good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Deanna.
Today, I had 9 of our leaders and a teacher leader with us at the teacher evaluation, student growth. That's the way we calculate student growth and look at student growth with our teachers has changed. It's going into effect next year. So we're attending training so we can be prepared and we can train our teachers. And so we did that today. We had a good experience. We go back tomorrow for another day. I was able to go out to Wistrand and see Starbase Reese. They were doing some circuits. They were doing robotics. Michelle and I were going to meet, but she got stuck in a meeting. So hopefully you got there after me. It was cool. The kids were having a fantastic time. So it was great that Kevin was able to do that. We're hoping that we'll be able to do that as like a 5th grade experience. It's a little challenging because we have to they have to go to Umatilla, and technically they wanted to come 5 times. They came 1 time to Wistrand. Well, sending Wistrand's 2 classes 4 times is easier than sending Jody's classes 24 times. So it is a little bit of logistics, but we're working it out, right, Jody, for next year. Kim, I'm sure I'll talk about the Women in Leadership Conference we attended, but that was really a really good conference. So I appreciated that. We are doing some work with I'm doing a lot of work with Christine Means, our open door teacher, to expand make some adjustments in the way we're delivering program, especially at K2. So we see some changes next year for that. And Rick Follett informed me he just was able to articulate 2 more courses for college and the high school with our CTE. So we're actually up to 41 college and high school classes, I think now. We have a lot. Kids, I don't know. I'm like, are kids gonna leave here with like their bachelor's degree? That would be cool. I don't think so yet, not quite yet. And then one quick thing for me, I am having a knee replacement. So on June 6th. So I will be out of the district for probably 6 weeks, but like probably on my couch, physical therapy or something. So
I'll be taking her a coffee and sit down solving all the problems of the world.
I told Kim, I said, maybe I can't come to work, but you guys can come and we can work in my living room because my doctor's being kind of stern about 6 weeks, but we'll see. So just so you know, and I'll remind you when we get closer that I won't be at work.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for Deanna? Thanks, Deanna.
As always, I am sending my report around. I'm happy to announce that our capital levy committee, specifically our tennis crew, met at the field. We had football coaches, soccer coaches, tennis coaches met the day before. We had athletic directors, community members, parents. I mean, I don't know. There was probably 12. Yeah. And this is what we got from that group. We got a thumbs up on the location. Now, I want everybody to know, that is not exactly where the bleachers are going to be or exactly where everything is, but now that allows the architect and the team to move forward with that work. And that starts your permitting process and all of the different things. So that was a huge win. I want you to know I've received little notes. Went to Becky's to get coffee the other day and somebody bought my coffee. Right, we got happy people in our community. I do want to make it for the record, we are still committed to the old tennis courts and resurfacing them and those being pickleball. So that also made some people happy. So we're still committed. I I want you to know I also met with Wade Smith. He happens to be the superintendent in the Walla Walla School District. They are doing 8 tennis courts. They did use the KCD bidding process. We talked a little bit about the pros and cons of that. And we're kind of following in their footsteps. We're going to let them make some mistakes, and we'll be about 4 to 6 weeks behind, so we won't make some of the same mistakes. So I felt good after talking to him that we're doing this in the right way, and we are still committed to be able to play tennis on them next spring. Communications, Deanna brought up the open door program. I think this is a really big thing. Also, when I was, and you're going to hear that we talk a lot about this, I'll talk about it at the end again, but I was at a superintendent conference, and the fastest way to improve the level of where students are at when they graduate from high school are things like open door, things like 8th grade algebra, those kinds of programs, right? And we're stepping in the right direction. And I think that's something that's really important. I'm not going to be publishing the postal processor during the summer. However, I'm not saying I'm going to fall off the radar. We'll do some little videos, some things going out, an article or 2 in the newspaper as things go on, but it will not be a weekly publication when school's not in session. We did get the RFQ and RFP for the appraiser did close. We did not have anybody. We found out the language. We got a little bit of help. We're going to get that reposted. Student board members, we have 3 applicants. We're planning for interviews to be held during an open session, and then the decision portion will be an executive session. So that's kind of cool. We have 3 app people. Facilities, we are moving forward on old PHS. Paint on the walls inside the office is basically done. You wouldn't, I think Kevin, Brian, some of them, if they go in, they're going to be like a little bit jealous because it's like pretty cool looking in there. Carpet goes in.
They have new schools. It's not that cool.
Yeah, that's true. But they also lived in it when
that's true.
The carpet goes in next week. The old library will be next, prepping it for a new boardroom and staff development areas. I have to personally and publicly thank Andy. The grass is green and it looks like we're staying on it. I do want to let people who are listening know that we have 2 people that all they do is mow and weed eat. That is all they do. And he's created this little trailer, and it kind of looks like the private landscape guy, right? It's got the weed eaters on it and the blowers, and we've got those pieces going on. So we have a few plants and a few buildings that need to be updated and or installed. We have some pressure washing to do this summer. The gum and things like that happen in schools. Safety and security, nothing new on the signs. They've been ordered. We're still just kind of keeping so it doesn't fall off. We did meet with Wenaha and Architects West on the vestibule at Housel Middle School. It was really exciting to see some of the things. While this feels like a huge project, we are not going to have to move the fire panel, right, that's in there. We've moved the wall to a little bit different location. That is thousands of dollars in savings. So that's a good mix. So that was a good meeting. 7 of our administrative team attended the Women in Leadership Conference on Saturday. Delise and Jody and Deanna, all that kind of thing. Let's see, Sean, Crystal, and Nikki. And so there's a couple things when we do something like that. One, it's really good for putting Prosser on the map, letting people, we are one of 3 districts that we know of, and we did some pretty good research that have a female superintendent, assistant superintendent, and business manager in the whole state of Washington. So there are some things when we're forward thinking that way. Let's see. I attended the Washington State Superintendent's Conference. I'm going to probably do something about this. I learned so much about AI, but here's my trivia for you. Think back to the first thing you can think of that might have been AI related, artificial intelligence. And let me tell you, you got to go back a ways.
That little magic professor calculator.
Yes, that's one of them. Pong actually was one of the first things, the Pong game, that actually was when we first started working on artificial intelligence.
That's a few years
ago. So the reason I'm bringing this about is like when you talk to my father who's 81, he's like, wow. you know, but it's really been around for a long time. We're just seeing it at its, and how we can use it and how we're going to be able to use it with our students and moving forward and teaching to use it right. So depending on your age in the room, remember if you were in the 50s, rock and roll was going to be the end of the world, right? And then in the 70s, it was the computer, and then it was, you know, I mean, like every generation, well, this is our generation thing. We need to learn how to use it properly. So I just want you to know it was amazing. Something that was brought to my attention today, like an aha, there was a law change last year, and all anybody of any administrative capacity, their evaluations now have to be done by June 1, used to be June 30, and now it's June 1. So our calendars got really full at the last of the month because we had planned to do some of them in June, and we can't do that. So just an FYI. Fiscal, we started our negotiation with the teachers. If there's anybody listening, we're excited to be able to clean up our forms and some of our language. And if you're interested about what does that really look like, we challenge you to sit in and listen at the staffing study session next Wednesday so you really understand that. So that's super exciting. I will be out tomorrow and Friday. I'm going to go head to the family in Wyoming. And so Deanna will be my designee. And the other fun thing is we have Nurses Appreciation Week and some director appreciation that we still have left to do. And then I think we've got everybody. So nurses and directors, you're next if you're listening. And we're going to go from there.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Kim?
Is there an idea that the tennis courts would be ready for next spring?
That's the plan. So, and I want everybody to hear me, and I'm putting this on public record, right? In the recording, right? If we don't have snowmageddon, right? If we don't have below freezing temperatures on October 15th, right there, we are at Mother Nature's mercy, and the asphalt plants have to remain open. So, I mean, I just really want everybody to understand that's the plan. We're sticking to it, but there are some things beyond our control. Absolutely.
And the location
by the
right
soccer field.
Here.
Yes.
Like a sports complex, so it'll be with baseball, softball.
And we did. We had football, soccer. We had everybody there. We got a good thumbs up. And maybe some people who didn't want to be there.
There were people there that I didn't know who they were. Like there were some people there, and I know we were there. It was a little cold and windy, but there was folks that showed up that I didn't recognize, and I met most people.
Right.
So they're very interested.
No, that's good. Thank you. Any other questions for Kim?
No, thank you.
All right. Board reports. Michelle.
Well, they kind of mentioned that I popped into Whitstrand on the Starbase Day, which was really cool. So they were just finishing the circuitry piece when I got there. But then I got to see my favorite part, which was the robotics, where they brought all these like Lego spike robots, and they set up courses, and the kids worked in little teams of like 4 or 5 to code the robot to be able to like drive around that and accomplish different tasks. I just loved watching that. I got there for the best part. So I really do hope that we can continue that with the graders at all of our schools. And then I also, Friday, after meeting with Kim for a little bit, spent a few hours over at Housel, and that was really great. I watched, now I don't know if the kids were like extra well behaved because Mr. Denny was with me, but like we watched the whole lunch recess process. It went very, very smoothly. There was no food flying anywhere. So I was like, wow, these kids are super well behaved. But it was really great. So I spent, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours and walked through some classrooms and 4 minutes.
Good. Thank you. Brian?
Now, other than being able to meet up with the group on the tennis courts, it was pretty cool to see just how excited people are in the community for this project, and apparently the rise of pickleball in Prosser. So that's gonna be a nice feature to have for our district. So looking forward to that.
Great, thank you. Frank?
Graduation is the same day as my daughter gets married, so I don't think I will be able to attend.
Really?
Oh,
we moved graduation.
What time's away?
disappointing when I realized that. You know where all need to be.
Yes, I know exactly where you're.
Good stuff. Okay. That's it, nothing else.
Lisa?
I think I just echo the sentiments on the excitement over the tennis courts and the pickleball. People, as exciting as the new tennis courts are and how wonderful it is, that pickleball availability in Prosser, I think there already is like a sign up for tournaments and partners.
I'm gonna have to add on that before you do your little report. So I was in Chelan at the superintendent's conference, and we have time and I like to shop, I'll just admit it. So I go down and there's this thing called Valley Life. There's a store on the corner in Chelan, Ben, called, no, Lake Life. I'm in the valley here, Lake Life. And you go in and there is a whole section, probably half the size of this room, pickleball, rackets, bowls, things, decorative things, signs, clothing with these little pickleballs all over it. And this, like, you would think we are in pickleball. So I think we're going to have to do something about the signage in the pickleball.
That's it.
I don't have much. I was able to get it kind of walk through Heights and Whitstrand, just kind of see the big change that I still can't imagine what they looked like before. So thanks to Jody and Kevin for giving me a tour. But I do have to say that when you walk into an elementary school room with the principal, everything stops. They're like, there's new people here, there's the principal. And so we didn't get to spend a ton of time, but it was still great to get into some of the classes and see what's going on. So it was a great time. I got to see the new family at Whitstrand while I was there. I was living under the container. And then lastly, I had a chance, I was able to fit in my schedule, was the second harvest that they do at down at Bethel. I think Darlene sent it out, but served a ton of people, a couple hundred cars. I don't know how many families that is, but at least a couple hundred cars. So it was really good. And if it does fit in your schedule, it's a very needed program for our community. And I think sometimes, although I went and there was a plethora of people to help, but I think sometimes it's hard for her to get volunteers. So. Yes. Go for it.
So I was thinking about two things. One, I saw in the bathroom about dodgeball. I'd love to hear a little bit going on there. And then I also think this week, right, was Mental Health Awareness Week. So I'd just like to hear how that's going too.
Dodgeball thing, I knew it was a big thing before COVID. It's not really picked up yet. It hasn't really gotten really too popular with kids that I know personally. But yeah, I think there's just going to be dodgeball tournament, and I don't know much about that. I didn't participate in it, but
There's like teams, so kids can put together teams. There's staff. There's been staff teams before. There could be a school board team. I don't know how you all fare, but I heard some of you are good at cornhole. So I don't know.
Do what I can.
The pricing's all this week, right? They have a different thing each day.
It wasn't as publicized, I think, as it could have been. I didn't hear about it until I saw like teachers wearing pajamas. Like, is it a spirit week? Because I'm wearing skirt, so like I don't hear anything. So yeah, but it seems like it's good.
What's the best way for you guys to find that information out like that? Instagram.
But I know it was on the bulletin, but the bulletin is showing lesson period, and a lot of juniors and seniors don't have lesson. You know.
You see Instagram.
Like,
Following.
just nothing. Yeah. More active. I mean, I'm trying to be more. So I pretty much just repost everything that.
The bulletin go on the Instagram?
No. There's stuff that goes on it, but it's not. Which I feel like more stuff needs to be put on the Instagram rather than everything.
Could the bulletin be posted as a,
Post,
yeah,
we would just need to, I think she runs both things, so I think she just need to post it.
anything else? All right. So future meetings, we have a safety meeting next Wednesday in room 205 at 5 p.m. and then study session same night right here in the library workroom at 6 p.m. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you. Don't leave yet.